Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Iron Sheik 84, and to my left on screen is Lee Brown from Champions Chat podcast. Good morning again, Lee. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You're all going to see this who are watching on YouTube after the new year, but as of right now, Sheik and I are spending a little bit of New Year's Eve together with some of our very best friends on the chat. And one of the concepts that was thrown out by some of you was 2025 the best year in WWE Champions history? Now, obviously that's somewhat subjective. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. But I figured we'd go through some of the reasons why maybe it is. Let's build a case. Let's say that there's a possibility that this was the best year. 8 years into this game's existence, and it was the best year it had ever been. I've got a few thoughts, and then I've also got some things from people in the community, and then that's going to spur Sheiky as his brain starts working on some of this too. So the first thing was given. The 3 or 4 of these things were given to us by Kuzclaw, who's faction mate here, and I'll put his stuff up on screen whenever I go through the last of them. But his lower, like from lowest to highest, said the first week MLC prize wall has been having posters like Zombie Punk, LA Knight, etc., and they've become obtainable through play with a little spend. So, I think that's a huge change. As they introduced it during Zombie Month, and having where a larger base in the community could get Zombie Punk or Zombie LA Knight, that's huge. I mean, I feel like that was a generosity move for sure. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I will say that's how I got Zombie LA Knight last month. Or 2 months ago, whatever it is at this point.
I know, right?
Uh,
Crazy.
I thought it was a fantastic addition. I got them 100% for free personally. So what I did was I attacked the nodes and tours and whatnot super, super hard. I know the medallions are gone now, but what I did was I went ahead and traded in one medallion for 1,000 prize wall medallions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was able to get them for free. Now the reason why I chose LA Knight over Punk was I only needed a few hundred more shards for Punk, and I was like, well, there's going to be some deals or something that comes up throughout the month, and I'll be able to get Punk that way. I doubt that I'm going to get 2,500 for free for LA Knight, so that made my decision very easy. And then I got Punk as well. And then
Nice.
this month's MLC, I was only able to get up to I was able to get the max. I forget who it was, but the only choice I had that of people that I didn't have was Hall of Fame Barber, and then I was
Okay.
like, I don't really need him that badly because I was only like 400 away from him or something like that. Now I'm just like, I should have just taken it because I don't know what to use my my medallions on, but. It's been, like I said, I think it's a great addition, and that's something that they need to keep doing going forward.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would say that month was the best of the options. I don't remember the next month's choices, but I do remember people being happy with them. And I think it's a good way to drive engagement at the start of the MLC. Get people moving that first week, and yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, so the I don't know what number this would be because he's going reverse order here, but the next best up that Kuzclaw gave us was, remember that event / prize wall that practically gave away OTC Roman? Yeah, that was great. That to me was one of those moments where I was playing the Merrick's role in the community. Like whenever they did the big oopsie for Piper, and Merrick's was like, "Get the Piper plate, get the Piper plate, get." This is one of those ones where people were like, "Yeah, I'm going for Showboat Solo Sokoa." I'm like, "He's good, but if you don't have OTC Roman, get freaking OTC." especially spoilers for a later thought here, but especially with Armor King, he can now do 800 million turn one. Oh my gosh. And so everybody who got him was very, very, very happy with him.
Yeah. Do you know the okay, do you want to know the one thing about that prize wall that really made me a salty chic?
Uh-oh. Yes, let's hear the rant. What is it?
Guess who I pulled like a week or two before that prize wall?
Did you pull Roman?
Yep. And
Oh.
well, I mean, obviously I was happy I got him, but I was just like, great. I was like, I love this timing.
Yeah. Oh. I know. That does tend to happen. Or like I'll get someone and then all of a sudden they're just given away for free. So I'm like, "Oh, that's why I got them because they put him in the loot for like nothing basically is the answer there." But Roman's still like the best or one of the best strikers in the game, and for them to put him available like that, yes please. Yes, please. Okay, Kuz Claw's next thought on this was just simply the new mode of Titan Takeover. Yeah, your thoughts first. I've got some thoughts, but I want your thoughts first on Titan Takeover.
Oh no, all good. So I I know what you're gonna say, so I promise I won't say it too.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Got each other.
but the one I'm always up for new modes,
Yep.
and I when they initially came out, um, I know it was like a lot harder to hit that tier 5,
Yeah.
which we got him like with my faction mates. Of course, like it's like there's always like that that stumbling period where you're kind of figuring out how to do it. The walk before you run
Right.
situation. So like we were able to hit like a day or two, and then we were like trying to like get everybody to be like, hey, everybody participate, participate, participate. And then we were able to get the tier 5 for the entire week. And then, of course, then they came back and they said, "Hey, we're lowering the requirements. We're doing this. We're doing that." And it's been something fun. I appreciate all the free hype that I've gotten,
Yeah.
and it took several months, because I've never bought any of the hype loot,
Yeah.
but I have I don't have an exact count, but I have I think a dozen hype 4 people, and
Nice.
then all 100% free, and then I've got countless like hype 3 people.
Right.
So yeah, it's been great. Now I know hype getting rolled out. We've talked about that to death about how
Yeah.
it's not exactly how we wanted it to
Right.
be brought out, and et cetera, et cetera. But like the fact that I get a free 10 pull every single day has been great,
Yeah.
and
I like that.
and it gives me a little something extra to do, especially on the slow days. So for that reason, yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, So you said you know what I'm gonna say. You said something to do every single day. That's been my struggle with it when it first came out, and now that they've changed it, I actually like the changes to where you can beat the Titan with a decent faction pretty regularly, whereas before it was like all hands on deck. The original way that they built it, I thought would be perfect for a weekend mode, and
Yep.
it kind of goes into my showdown thoughts is we have 1,400 showdowns a week, and then we have a weekend showdown every month. If they were going to introduce this big mode it's got some boss battle aspects to it, but it's also not. It's got Titan Takeover is the most unique mode in the game. Literally, it's the first time where you've had to go like, oh, well, this is like the 3-minute moveset that I'm using for tours, but this is how you run them in Titan. Like, it's a completely different way to run the game. And because it's that big and that sweeping and that changing, I would have loved for it to have been a shake up for the weekend modes, which are the more important ones. Having it daily, there's just certain days I just I just feel like it's an obligation. I honestly do. I feel like it's an obligation instead of something I have to do for fun. And because of feeling that way already about Showdown and so much of the week being Showdown obligation, I just feel like, man, it's too much. But I totally get where you're going with it as well, that it does give you something to do on down days. Like I do like that. So like 1 to 2 days a week, I like it, but 5 to 6 days a week, I don't. And I want to because I think it's a very innovative mode. I think it's very awesome the way they've implemented it, and I really like the changes that they did. When it first came out and it was a struggle and everybody in the faction was like, we used to put out, the Toxic Mafia put out these things every day, Remember the Titans, and it was the picture of that Titan in the Remember the Titans poster done with AI. Yeah. That was good because it got the entire faction moving on it, so at least there was faction engagement. But once we beat all the Titans, and even with the newer setup, there's really not a lot of faction aspect to it. It's just go in, hit at least a few billion, and then walk away is the way it is for me right now. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's the same way it is for me. So here's the thing, like, I will say that I know I should be doing like the power setups, and this and that. Like I totally agree. It does feel like an obligation some days because I'm just like, oh, like okay, let me just get in, hit my billion, hit my platinum press, call it a day. The thing is, I already do enough, especially with showdown days, of like putting in, like an hour or two. Right. So like and here's the thing: it's not that I don't know how to do it. I understand like the do this hot tag, do this hot tag, do this hot tag, do this. Right. I'm sorry, trust me, I would love to be able to share a screenshot and say like, oh hey, look, I did 300 billion, Right. But I also don't want to do 15 minutes of, like I said, move, hot tag, move, hot tag, move, 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 move. I just, I don't have the patience for that. Same. I'm just telling you, I already put enough time into the game, and I just, I'm sorry you're on the list. I just I do at least hit for like 5 or 6 billion or whatever, and do that. So at least I'm contributing, but that's that's the one thing I don't like. I know for somebody like Zoro, that's his that's eat every single day for him.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't have the patience or time to want to do that over and over and over.
Yeah, that's the same. Also, I think one big change that would make me like it a little bit more is introduce. You know how they have like the daily login streak? Introduce a Titan streak, and on the off day, I like the off day. Keep the off day, but on the off day, still give us the rewards as if if you hit it every single day of the rest of the week, you get it on the last day as well. Because that one day where you don't get hype, I'm like, I did the thing all week. Why am I being punished for getting a day off? I would love to have some sort of a streak, and if you hit all 6 days, then you get the average or the highest that you hit or whatever on the next day, so that you still get hype rewards. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
totally agree.
Tied to it, the Speed Tour is Kuzclaw's next one. So Speed Tour was basically introduced to fill the gap before Titan Takeover, because they knew, behind the scenes talk as a CC, I knew that something was coming, and Rusty got to play it early. I wasn't able to get in on the closed beta of Titan. But I know Rusty did. So I knew for a couple months, 3 months, that there was a new mode coming. I knew a little bit about it. And then the Speed Tours kind of came out to introduce getting hype every day. But my favorite thing, if you want to talk about why this was a great year, Merrick's putting out that rant video when they said they were taking away Speed Tour, and immediately them going, we changed our minds. That was a good moment. I was like, go. There's some times where the CCs have ability to make changes practically for the entire community, and that was a reminder that that can happen. But yeah, the speed tour in general, thoughts on it? Like, that's the daily mode I like. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm gonna throw it over to you real quick, but that's the daily mode I like. That I'll do every day for hype, and then make the thing Titan Takeover a weekend mode. But anyway, your thoughts,
Yeah.
Sheep.
Well, I was super happy for that, by the way. Thank you to Merrick's about it. And then also, thank you to Merrick's as well for the other change that you didn't mention. Is remember they said they were going to take away the the MP boosts for Titan?
Yes, yes, that's
That
right.
there's literally no reason to do that. Like, uh, so I'm happy that that was something that they also didn't do. Um, it's I will say this, the kind of like how I talked about hype, the Titan being an obligation. Sometimes the speed tours are as well, because I'm just like, ugh,
Yeah,
uh
but at least they only take 30 seconds. That's the
yeah.
bigger deal.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't want to. I don't want to change. I don't want to change. I don't want to say this and then have them change it. The thing is, the speed tours for me, at least, their leaderboarding doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah,
So at least I'm really thankful for that,
yeah,
because again, I just put in my, hey, here's what I need to do to max it, boom, 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 and I'm done in 2 minutes, and I don't have to worry about it again for another 24 hours. If I actually had to sit there and come up with the, okay, this plate and this thing, and then do this, and then use these props to do blah blah blah. In that case, I would just be like, ugh, like kind of like the same thing with the stip tours that are going on for like the Mark Henry shards. I think the highest, I think on one of them I'm like 22nd or something like that, and like, okay, great, fantastic, but I was like, hey, I'm really gonna use those 500 prize wall medallions or whatever. Like,
right.
I like it to where like I can do a mode, and as long as I just hit the max, it doesn't affect anything else. Like it would be like, oh my god, I didn't get top 100. Now I'm not gonna get this fantastic plate, or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Well, here's Kuz Claw's thoughts. I'll put them up so you can see them on screen. There's all the things, and then Kuz Claw and Cone Dog or Coney Dog, not sure how we're saying it, both listed 1v1 feud slash
Mhm.
feud changes. So thoughts on 1v1 and or just the overall food changes. Yes, changes to your food this year.
Yeah. So I love the 1v1 feud. Like I said, there is a but that I'm gonna throw in there, but
Okay.
however, uh, being able to play at my own pace, not having to worry about holding somebody else up, somebody holding me up, and then also, I don't know if you've had to deal with this in Toxic Mafia or not, but even being in a top 20 faction, there's some people who are like, I don't want to do Titan, I don't want to do this,
Right.
and so then like I said, I know I've said this before, but like the cyclical thing is that uh, I'm not gonna do the thing, so I'm not gonna have any hype. Showdown and feud comes up, they don't do really well. Oh
Yeah.
man, I don't want to play this. It's like, oh, I struggled and I didn't do very well because I don't have any hype.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to do the hype tours because people already have way more hype than me, and I don't want to do this. And then they just end up doing the same thing, don't play, and then they run into, like I said, the same issues over and over and over. Like, I know before we got a lot more women in the game, and a lot that hit really really well. It's people are like, oh, there's not as many women's tours, so
Right.
or women's events, so I'm not going to work on my women. An
Yep.
event happens that requires a woman, oh man, Scopely sucks, they have, it's like they're making me use females, and then they don't use their, they don't work on their female roster, and
Right.
then when the next event comes up, oh man, this sucks, I don't, this sucks. I can't do anything because I don't have any women, moved up. And then again,
Right.
it goes into a circle. Oh yeah, and Chuck Urich. By the way, yeah, trust me, a lot of people have been cycled out of the roster because it just we, we gave people reminders to do it, and like at a certain point, we're just like, hey, look, like if you're not going to contribute, then go to a lower roster, a lower faction that isn't going to require this stuff. So one thing I can tell you is whenever they added in the 6 SG requirements for faction feud, and I know we're going, this isn't
Yeah.
2025, but yeah, like what happened was that at a certain point, I said, I was like, look, uh, you know, by the end of because people were using that excuse like, oh, I haven't worked on my women and blah 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 blah. I finally said, I was like, look, you have 2 months. By the end of the it was not this year's but last year's zombie month. I was like, you have till the end of zombie month to have a 6 SG in every single corner. And this is also when they were starting to give out the 6-star gold fuses,
Right.
and I was like, look, it's like you have to have one in every quadrant. End of story. You
Right.
don't have one, thanks for being here. And you know what that made people do? They moved up.
They moved up. Yeah.
Exactly. And there were a few that didn't, and I was just like, hey, when I said you had 2 months, you had 2 months, and you're not there. So
Yep.
yeah.
Bye.
So yeah. But yeah, I'll get off that rant. We'll get back to
No, no,
2025.
no. Actually, that brought up. I mean, this obviously isn't in the game, but this is in a faction thing. Talking about toxic mafia, our leaders, which I sit at the table, but I'm there. I think as an honorary position at this point. But our leaders came up with this idea of having a danger room, and basically, like everybody who's in danger of getting kicked from the faction gets put into the danger room. They're told, hey, you're in danger of getting kicked from the faction for this reason. You can turn it around, and all of the coaches are in that room. So if they want it, like they absolutely can. And I saw 2 or 3 people that got put into the danger room who actually came back to the leadership chat and said, hey, I want to thank you for what you've done on here because it made me get better at the game. Obviously, if they didn't want to get better, they'd just go. They'd drop out. But I was surprised. I honestly thought it was gonna cause people to leave, and instead, those who got put in the danger room, I think only 1 or 2. I don't follow it very closely, but I think only
Yeah.
1 or 2 have left. Whereas most of the rest have just gone, oh, okay, well, I was afraid to ask because I didn't know how to run my roster, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, those are what the coaching rooms are for. But until they got put in the danger room, they didn't use the coaches. But then when they started using our coaches, it was like, oh, that's how you do this. I can do that. And they do belong in a top 20, top 10 faction. It's just that they didn't know some things that were holding them back. And so that danger room concept actually worked really well. You got to be careful because I could see that being used maliciously. And Rusty
Yeah.
and I have talked on the podcast before about healthy factions and not healthy factions. I could
Yeah.
see that getting used against people, but when it's used as a tool to coach, I've really liked it.
Yeah, well, and that actually is a good idea. I might actually talk to my faction mates about that, because you know, the sometimes like I said, I get this as we talk about this stuff so seriously, but at the end of the day, it's a game. You're supposed to have fun, right?
Right.
But but also like we said, it's like when you're in a higher faction, there are certain expectations of like, hey, I don't make people play the game like it's a second job. Even I don't
Right.
do that. Yeah,
Right.
I certainly spend a lot more time in the game than other people do. But at the end of the day, your family, your
Yeah.
work, your other obligations, that's what's important, not this game.
Right.
Um, but on the like I said, on the same token though, sometimes what gets like a little frustrating to me, like and like and bringing this back to the 1v1 feud, is that like I'd run with somebody, and like for example, they'd have every single person available to fill a line, but they would have like the holes here and there, and then I'm like, first of all, who the hell are you running?
Right.
you know, uh, And then on top of that, I'm like, who do you expect to beat? Why aren't you getting your line bonuses? And
Right.
we have Discord, rooms set up for feud roster advice and stuff. And I'm like, you have all these people available to you, yeah, and I'm not just trying to toot my own horn here. Like I told people before, it's like top 100 feuder right here, multi-time top 100 feuder.
Multi-time, right?
Yeah, I think the highest I ever was I forget if it was either high 20s or low 30s. So I mean,
Nice.
like, I know what I'm doing when it comes to faction feud, okay? And I'm like, it's like, and then you got other people who, it's like who have, 16, 17, 18 million rosters, and you're not asking them for advice.
Right.
I,
What? Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so there's that. So that's the reason why. Now, I did say that there's a but on the 1v1 feud, which is
Okay.
what something I brought up again. Sometimes some of this stuff, it might be, if you've been watching previous videos, you've heard this.
Yeah.
Um, I will say the drop in faction related things is something that I do kind of miss, though, because
Yeah.
like a lot of times for like there are people who had partners for feud, and I miss like getting onto a voice chat and just shooting the breeze, and and feuding together with certain people, and now I don't
Yeah.
have that anymore. Now, is that something that I miss more than 1v1 feud? That could be debatable, but
Right.
I think like there's been more of a focus on solo stuff than there has been faction stuff, and you
Agreed.
know and I've said this many times before. The whole reason why I still play this game is because I love my faction. I love the people that I feud with, that I chit chat with.
Yeah.
Some maybe a little more than others, but they're the reasons why I'm still playing this game. It's like if I was on an island onto myself, I don't know if I would still be playing Champions.
Right.
Now coming into its ninth year.
9 years. That's crazy. Yeah, that is great. I agree, and that's my biggest complaint about 1v1 feud as well. I would say, and this is maybe a topic for another video. I'll also say it quickly, but I would say 1v1 fundamentally changed how I feud, because I don't try to go for top 100, but I definitely try to max if I can, or at least get to the 400 million mark, 450 million, somewhere in that range. And what I've noticed is when it was faction based, so I never had a set partner. I always just hop into the queue with whoever is available. So I definitely ended up learning more of my faction that way. I did get to interact. I'd like, hey, if you can take this one, or hey, Lee, take that guy, or whatever. There was just those little micro interactions, but they added up. What I do now oftentimes is I'll find myself, I'll start a feud match, and before it was like I was dedicated. I was focused on feud because I was going to let my partner down if I didn't. And now, like, I'll start feuding, and my wife will be like, hey, can you go do this? And I'll literally just set my phone down because I'm like, it doesn't hurt anybody but me if I lose this. So there's been multiple times where I've just let the clock run out on feuds because I'm doing other things. Whereas before it was like, this is the focus, I'm going to feud. So yeah, definite that's been a definite change for me. I agree. I think we're not talking about necessarily the negatives of this year,
Yeah.
but I would say the lack of faction focus is a negative. But yeah. Anyway. Well, let's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Like I said, I just wanted to make a mention of it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go off topic being like, oh, this is the best year in Champions, but this is what's terrible. I just don't want to do
Right.
that. But I just
Well, it's
wanted to mention
balanced.
it, just as a, hey, this is just my 2 cents on, why I think it's a fantastic thing. But, you know, but yeah, that being said,
Yeah.
1v1 feud.
Yeah. Otherwise, very good. I like it. All right. I've got three more, and then we can talk about hype on there. So the next one we've kind of done a lot on, but Armor King. The Tekken event, it was fine. I looking back, I liked it better than I said I did during. But Armor King, like the fact that he was given away for free, the fact that you now can functionally create Sherry even if you don't have Sherry, in a lot of cases by doing like Armor King plus the other two MP of that same color person with MP. The fact that he made Hall of Fame Perfect obsolete when I've had that pass for almost 2 years now and still don't have Perfect. Like, I've literally been trying for him for 2 years and cannot get him, and now he's obsolete. What he meant to free to play players. Also, let's not forget, like, I know I dogged on Tech Ray for this, and so I don't want to sound like a hypocrite out of the other side of my mouth. But the fact that I think he was good, and this is the difference between him and Tech Ray. I think he was good, just slow, by himself without anything. And then the gear adding times 22 to the multiply gems. When I saw that, literally in our chats, I think I'm okay to say this. Like the super secret chats. Somebody asked Gerson, like, "Is this a misprint?" And Gerson had to go check with the devs and come back and go like, "Nope, that's what he actually is." And we were all like, "Whoa, holy cow!" But just even as a trainer entourage member, Armor King. That is one of the best moves for free to play I've ever seen in the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, you get a better version of Santa Hogan without the token requirement. Zero complaints from me about that.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
The
Well,
only thing, yeah, the only thing that I feel bad is, uh, you know, newer players who aren't going to be able to get that. I feel bad for them, and I hope that maybe at some point, they're, they have a thing where they give them away for free, kind of like the 12 Days of Christmas
right.
thing that we had recently. Um, yeah, I mean, anybody who's going to be coming into the game after the Tekken event now or skip the month because they didn't want to play, I feel bad for you.
Well, Tekken was a big win. I know, like, my views went way up, like way more than they ever have during the Tekken month, and it's trickled down a little bit, but it's mostly held, which has been great. But I will say, I think Scopely has hinted but not said like that we might have more Tekken content in the future. I don't think. I'm not like I literally don't know. I'm not confirming or denying anything behind the scenes. Like I just think like the way they've said certain things that at least it leaves the door open for another go. So who knows? We'll see. Okay, so the next one I've got on this is the sheer number of new to the game characters, but I also want to caveat that with some incredible legends. Like, I have got to give a shout out to at least three. Coco Beware, well, no, Haku, four. Again, this list could just be endless, but Haku, Coco Beware, and Demolition. I literally never thought I would see Demolition in this game or any WWE game again. And the fact that they're in there now is just incredible. Like, I know there's so many people who are like, oh, it's just another version of Seth Rollins. Like, I get it. There's 25 versions of Seth Rollins in the game. But that's sometimes a necessary evil because it takes so much. And people, like, dog on me every time I say this. I literally don't think they understand how much it takes to get licensing rights. It has to go through Scopely. It has to go through WWE. WWE literally has to approve every single character that goes into this game. Like, period. Like they decide, they say when things are happening or not happening. Even if their executives don't play this game, they get the final say. And so when people are just like, oh, they could just add whoever they wanted to this, no, they can't. Actually, there's lots of licensing. There's family rights issues for those who have deceased. And this year we got Jesse the Body, King Kong Bundy, Bull Nakano. I mean, just start going down the list of new to this game characters that are like literally not in any other game. I think this is the best year for new characters we've ever had.
Yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, that's what I was gonna say. Sometimes whenever like on Reddit, people complain about like, oh, why aren't so and so in the game? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's copyright, there's likeness rights. Who owns a trademark on a name because like for example, just because so and so was in the WWE, if the WWE don't reapply for a trademark for them, and then the
Mm-hmm.
original talent purchases it, they can't do anything with that. You
Right.
know, The only situation is when somebody uses their real name, and that's the reason why the WWE doesn't really do that very often because
Yeah.
they want rights to it. Um, but yeah, like how many new people in the game and good ones too. Like I mean, I know one of the things that was kind of sad is a lot of the people that we listed on the worst stuff
We're the
were
new.
were first time people in there.
Right.
Unfortunately, we
But
had
you got
so
Blackman, you got AJ Lee, you got Kelly
yeah.
Kelly, and that's just in the last month and a half.
Yeah, but you had some, like I said, you had some really great ones, like like you mentioned, Haku, Coco
Haku,
Beware,
Axe. Yeah.
Axe, So yeah, this was a fantastic year for like for new people in the game.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that alone, I think, would for me seal this as one of the best years ever. And even like the characters that we got that are duplicates, like the fact that we got 15 John Cena's this year. In a normal year, people would complain. I think they get away with it because of it being his last year.
Yeah,
But the ones we got were two shiny Cena's that were pretty darn good to phenomenal. Last Time Is Now Cena, who is top tier, and Hip Hop Cena, who we all talked about as possibly the best character of the entire year. And so when that's the roster you're looking at, you're like, I don't mind that we got four new John Cena's when every one of them is top tier. AJ Lee, like getting AJ Lee in the game, getting Kelly Kelly. I never thought we'd see Kelly Kelly. I mean, there's just so many that you start to go down the list, and the number of characters we got that were new to the game is at least close to or on par with the number of repeats we got in the year, which is incredible. I've never seen that. Usually it's 5 repeats in a month with one new to the game character, and now it's almost half, maybe 30, 70, 30, maybe something like that. So that's
and we're going to
great.
be and we're going to be starting the new year with all new people because
Yeah.
the NXT people won the votes for the choice.
Yeah, yeah. And that voting choice, I mean, this is a 2026 conversation now, but the fact that Tito Santana was in there, the fact that the NXT people were in there, the fact that, I mean, NXT that didn't get picked, like Zarya isn't going to be one of the ones that was picked for that, but she was in that list. And, you just go through it, like, there's more to come, guys. There is more to come for sure. For sure, for sure. And then, okay, so the number, well, we're not doing numbers, but I've got two more on there. Last one will be controversial, but the next one I think universally loved, the plate filter and the ability to sort your plates, to search for plates. The strap filter was the year before, I think, so I can't lump that in. But those two make kind of a wombo combo together. I know somebody said on one of the streams, they said I think that meant more to CCs than it meant to other people. So let me get your take on that. Like for me, that was massive. But was that just like? Is that as big a deal to others as it was to those of us who have to change plates 700 times a video for content?
Oh, I was over the moon about it. The only thing that I will say is I wish that there was a way you could trade in plates like towards another
Oh
plate.
gosh,
Uh,
yes.
like an
Mysterious
internal,
mask. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Because there's a lot of plates that I would get rid of.
Right?
But yeah, but outside of that, I mean, oh, it was. So here's the thing: not only was the filter great, but the fact that they like did the thing where like they grouped them together with a number
Yes.
was phenomenal because it's
Genius.
at least that way it's not like scrolling through it, but then you have to look at 12 the same plate in a row.
Yeah.
I think they did a phenomenal job with that. And then the strap filter, I forget if that was 2025 or not,
I think it
but
was 2024, maybe even.
yeah.
I don't think it was 23, but I'm pretty sure it's 2024.
Yeah. Whatever it was, the filters that they added were much needed. I think they knocked it out of the park. That's pretty much all I can say. That
Yeah.
like I thought it was great. The way that it was implemented, the way that it was, the way that it was released. I honestly I can't think of a complaint to put in
Yeah.
there other than the fact that I don't want any more Carmella mask plates and I don't want any more Rey Mysterio
Ray
plates.
mask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof. And now I'm starting to get to where the Ninja Turtles plates, like I'm glad that they branded them in such a way that we didn't lose them like the Ghostbusters plates, but the armory loot, I'm starting to get triplicate, quadruple, quintuple of a lot of those plates from the armory loot, and I'm just like, well, now the Rumble plates are better and I don't have a place for these. It's like honestly, on the plates conversation, I forgot about this. One thing they did silently that I don't think I even noticed until recently, they stopped giving out the stupid defensive plates. You know, the ones
Yes.
that were the original Ultimate plates? Oh, they stopped giving those away, and thank goodness.
Yeah, that's that, but like I said, that was part of the like it's like I wish I could trade a whole bunch of those in and just get something else instead. Like I'd be happy with the 10-to-1 ratio, honestly. Like it is well worth it to me to get rid of 10 Carmella masks to get
Yeah,
like one even
right.
halfway decent plate.
Yeah, yeah, or just for plate mover currency. I mean, I
Yeah,
would use the. I mean, I literally would get rid of all but like one, maybe two, mysterious masks and be able to move a bunch of plates around that I'm just sitting on right now.
oh yeah,
So yeah, yeah. All right, the last thing, and it's going to be controversial because I think with the start of when this was introduced, we definitely had a lot more negative and a lot more controversial takes on it. But honestly, I think hype was fine. I'm not going to list it as the best thing that's ever happened to the game, but on the flip side, I'm also not going to say it was the worst thing in the game. I still hold to the fact that, and this is a big caveat, but other than turn order, and yes, I get that's huge, other than turn order, hype was less game changey even than 7 star would have been. And I think people just went in with rose colored glasses and forgot what it was like to shift between metas because the silver to gold wasn't as big of a change. But when you talk about anything in the 5 star era, every single iteration was a huge change. 6 star bronze, 6 star silver were huge changes to where literally the tokens were paywalled so much that it took me back when I was more free, much more free to play. It took me almost 5 months to get my first 6 star bronze character. So for half the year, I was in the Black Pearl at the time, and in line, I don't know why they still use that app, but in the line chat, I'd be sitting there, or we would be sitting there going, ugh, I hit the 6 star wall again, because you literally could not feud if there was a 6 star in there. You could not beat them. At least with hype, two things. One, at least after they adjusted it and brought the MP down trainers back into the focus, you could, I would say, in some cases, pretty easily beat a Hype 4 with a Hype 3, and Hype 3 was accessible. But two, every other star meta, anytime they introduced a new star meta, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, at least one MLC in, all of your previous characters were basically unusable, and the only ones you could really use going forward were the new characters. Where with hype, I'm still using characters that are 3, 4, 5 years old now, and they're still good. But certainly, I'm definitely still using most of the characters that I got last year. Where if it had been 7 star, I believe it would have continued the meta shift where you wouldn't be using last year's characters at all because they would be, like DX Triple H. DX Triple H was phenomenal in the 5 star era, and 6 star showed up, and it was like, why would I ever use DX Triple H? He, like, not the paid one, but the
yeah.
regular tech one. So for me, I think hype was maybe not the best thing ever, but I think it was a net positive overall. What do you think?
Yeah. So I talked about this when, like, kind of like when we were having our original discussions on hype. The thing is, if they had come out and said, "Hey, we're releasing 7 star," or let's just say, like, we're gonna release 6 star diamond or something, like whatever the next tier of characters are gonna be. I honestly think that what would have happened is people would have said it's more of the same,
Yeah.
and there would be, everybody's 7 star character would be like Hall of Fame Sergeant Slaughter, and
Yeah. Oh.
in China and that, it's like, and then maybe 2, 3, 4 months in, you'd finally have enough to move that one person up to 7 star,
Yep.
until you got, until, things came out a
Right.
little more freely. The, the thing with, like I said, the thing with hype, so like it's been beaten to death, it's like, and like we understand that, yeah, some people are better with hype than others, and et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera.
Right.
But it's
Kind of flip
the
this.
problem you run into, that you said, is people want change. A change is made, and then they're like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Change.
that's not the way that we wanted it to change. We wanted it to change this way.
Right.
And so people have a negative reaction to it.
Yeah.
Am I the biggest like proponent of hype? No, not really,
Oh.
but part of it too was I was like, hey, let me give it a shot, let me see how it works, and then I will say, hey, it was fantastic, or no, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think we've had enough time with it now. Hype is kind of zero sum. Like if you're going tier four against tier four, it really tier three against tier three, it really doesn't do much other than the turn aspect. And I know people hated not being first turn every single time. I'm used to it now. I don't want to say I like it, but I would say I don't mind it. And it definitely, kind of like with the reversals, the reversal meta, it makes it to where I at least pay attention to certain things differently. I change my roster out more frequently. Like Showdown, I got first in Showdown this last weekend because I was trying unsuccessfully for AJ Styles. And there was a lot of times where, I would have done in the past, just set it and forget it. It would have been whoever, Roman Reigns, Zombie Penta, and Muta kind of floated, and Kofi, Trick Kofi kind of floated together in there, because those are all my top four hype fours, and I ended up having to like, oh, okay, I don't have first turn, so I'm going to swap in Kofi. Okay, now I've got first turn again. Boom, go. So it at least brought that little bit of extra engagement. And the last thing I'll say for it, with that, somebody mentioned earlier in the chat, like, oh, how long were you using your Hall of Fame Jerry Lawler? Think about this. In the old system, before hype, when there was different tokens for Hall of Famers, let me just say that as well, because now Hall of Fame tokens, which that's a weird change for this year, they got rid of Hall of Fame tokens. But
Yeah.
but anyway, that was the only way to get a meta relevant character at that point. So 6-star bronze or silver, I want to say. It was either IOW or Hall of Fame. Those are the only two ways. So 6 bronze, I'm pretty sure IOW Angle was the first and only person I had at 6 bronze for months. 6 silver, I'm pretty sure it was Hall of Fame Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Jerry Lawler was like number 2 in both of those years for me. So for 2 or 3 years in a row, I took Hall of Fame Jerry Lawler to the max at that time, 6 bronze, 6 silver, 6 gold, because he was the only one I could go with. And even though he wasn't good, he wasn't almost usable, maybe even 6 gold. When 6 gold came out, I think I ended up having to take Hall of Fame Jerry initially or something. But either way, 6 gold was a lot less paywalled than silver on down was. So people have forgotten that like literally right now you would still be a lot of players would still be using Hall of Fame Lawler or his equivalent as their only hype 4 or 7-star bronze for months. I mean, for months and months, you'd be using your Hall of Fames, your IOWs, and they are not those ones at least are not good. So I'm not against hype. I'm not super for it. I just think it's fine. I think it's different. They brought something new into it, but I put this on the list or on the video because I wanted to reaffirm publicly it did not ruin the game. For those who left the game because of hype, I think you probably could reassess that and come back now and you'd be fine. Like it did not end the game. It did not break the game. It maybe made it a little better or maybe a little worse, but it certainly didn't like veer us off course. And I think even with hype, even if you do think hype was more destructive in the game than I think it was, this was still one of the best years in Champions ever.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah, by the way, there's a question that I have real quick that I
Sure.
completely forgot about. Did they ever give us some compensation for taking away the Hall of Fame tokens? Because I don't remember that.
I did get mine, but I do know other people who have said like I don't remember seeing, but it was a blink and you'll miss it thing. It was in your mailbox or something like that, and it was like coins or what. I mean, it was nothing. Like it wasn't anything where all of a sudden you got 75 hype pulls or armory loot or what. It was like a little bit of econ. Was basically all it
Okay, I
was.
don't remember. That's the reason why.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh, right. Well, any
yeah.
final thoughts on that? And then, really, final thoughts for this video was, in your estimation, was 2025 the best year in Champions? Yes or no?
Oh, there is one more thing for 2025 that I
Oh,
want to
go
bring up
ahead.
that you forgot to mention,
Yeah,
or
please do.
the UI update.
Oh,
Just in
yeah.
general, like the general UI update, and then also the reversal UI update.
Oh my gosh, that was huge. Yes, yes, 100%. Yes.
So they, we always talk about quality of life upgrades for things. I will say that having the big R on the side makes things so much easier for me because, like I mentioned it the week that it came out. Um, Having to go in when somebody has like a multiply setup, for example, and a trap setup, or I mean, I just I can't think of anybody off the top of my head to be like, oh yeah, like this person,
Right.
but there was a big thing of like, okay, well I'm using this character, and if my opponent has this setup, then I have to use this setup.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're running this setup, then I have to use this setup.
Right.
Now I don't have to do that because I just have a big R that says, hey, they have a reversal for what you have, and
Right.
I don't have to go in, especially when you have limited time, like a showdown, where you're trying to get as many wins as possible, or a feud. Like I just I pick my character, they have a big R, and then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I shouldn't use last time is now Cena against El Grande Americano because he can reverse my trap gem. So let me just pick somebody else. Having that update was, like I said, severely, sorely needed and
Yeah.
severely needed. Um, and then, the just like I said, just the overall general UI update I thought was great. I don't like the little separation between the mailboxes and having to click somewhere else,
Yeah, that's weird
um,
now.
but
It's
like
fine.
like the showdown, like the showdown versus screen and several other ones that have been updated. I think that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I again don't have any inside information. I think Gerson had a lot to do with it. It's very much like a heavy metal aesthetic versus, it's like when Apple went from, everything looked real and it was felt tables and all that to when it went to minimalism. It like you could feel that design impact. I think anyway. I don't know for sure, but I think Gerson has had a lot to say with it. And I think they've all been big positive changes for the most part. They've gotten things, on every screen now, like your coin being the way it is, and different things. I think yeah, I agree. The only things I don't even dislike them. I'm just confused by them. Is moving your inventory over to your player name, which I'll get used to that. That's fine. But then in
Yeah,
your mail, there's like your mail, and then there's like the corporate mail, and it just
yeah,
always says there's no new mails today. I'm like, that's not even proper English.
yeah,
Like, what? There's never new mails today. Why is there never no new mails or news today? So,
yeah.
oh goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, so I just wanted to throw that out, like before I forgot to mention it, and people in the comments are like, "Oh, why didn't you talk about the UI update?"
Right,
But
right.
yeah, hey, like I said, 2025 was great for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't have a list in front of me of being like, okay, 2020, like 2018 had this and
right.
2019 had that, and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, definitely, 2025 I thought was a fantastic year for champions, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2026 has, and us going into 9 years of WWE champions.
Well, you might have a spoiler there for one of my ideas. Jamie Mod said, I haven't seen you and Sheik together. We've been streaming together for a few months at least, and also usually have Slim Numbers, who's in the chat, but he's at work. So maybe just maybe one of the first podcasts of next year is going to be our hopes, our thoughts, our what could happens for 2026 as WWE Champions enters its ninth year in our collective consciousness, which is huge. Not as big as 10. Oh, wait till that year, but my goodness,
Yeah.
9 years. I don't know of any other games, like I've said before, Destiny and Final Fantasy. But Final Fantasy I pick up and put down, pick up and put down. Destiny I played for, I don't know, maybe 6, maybe 7 years tops, something like that. So other than my wife and Jesus, this is the longest relationship I've ever had with anything, I think, in my life. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like for me, I mean, like there's like there are a lot of things that I can say. Like Champions has outlasted,
yeah,
uh, but like I won't get like I said sometimes it's like there are things I will willing to go into specifics, things I'm not.
sure.
I've been playing Champions longer than my son's been alive.
There you go.
That that's saying something.
Wow.
Uh, I the
Wow.
I've been playing Champions longer than I've been working at my current role. Uh, let's see what else. Like, there's just like like I said, 9 years is something that I don't. Other than like maybe Street Fighter and some other games
Yeah.
that I've picked up and put off.
Right.
I can't think of a game that I've consistently played like on a daily, weekly, whatever. I mean, Champions I play daily, but I mean,
Right.
like even just saying on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
I don't think there's been no other video game that I've played for 9 years straight.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And to your point, daily, because I've played the franchise Final Fantasy for longer, things like that. But as far as I can remember, and they took okay. This is my rant. I wish they wouldn't have taken this off the portal. They took down the streak, the daily login streak that you had on the portal, so you could see how long you've been playing. But as far as I know, I have not missed a day in at least 7 years. I've never played. In fact, spoilers for another video I'm going to be working on early this year, this coming tomorrow next year, is why I've played Champions for 7 years. It's kind of a follow up to my video I did a year or so ago. I feel like this is the best wrestling game, literally, and I'm not joking, ever made. Similarly to that, I kind of feel like I've got a video in me to say like 7 reasons why I've played this game every day for 7 years of my life. That's a commitment. That's literally it's a commitment. That's all I'm gonna say. So
I'll tell you right now, I'm glad the streak is gone, and you know why? Because the website lied and said that 2 weeks into playing the game that I missed a day. So it didn't. It said I didn't have perfect attendance, and that was a lie. So I'm glad that it's gone because that's false information, and that it's like it was pushing a narrative that does not exist. I have perfect attendance on this game.
oh my gosh. And for that reason, you are by far one of my favorite Champions content creators, Iron Sheik 84. If you are not following Iron Sheik 84 on YouTube and on Twitch, what are you doing with your life? He streamed twice. This is now 3 times in a week, Sheik.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I might even stream later
Thank you,
today.
Jamie
Who
Rods.
knows? Probably not because I have stuff to do. But
Right? And Jamie
but yeah,
Mods, thank you for the bits. I appreciate you so very much. Sheik, you're always the one with the honors. You take us out of this video, and then we'll talk if we're ending stream. I've still got some, even if you got to go,
it's all
but
good.
take us out.
But yeah, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch at Iron Sheik 84, Lee Brown at Champions Chat Podcast. And our buddy's not here, but make sure you give some love to Slim Numbers as well. and follow us for more WWE Champions action. And as we're doing this on New Year's Eve, I wanted to throw it out there. Please be careful out there. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and park because accidents cause people. And yeah, just if you're going to be going out to celebrate tonight, if for whatever reason you don't feel or you know for a fact that you're not going to be good behind the wheel, get an Uber, get a driver, get a taxi, just Lyft, whatever it is. We don't want to wake up in 2026 and find out that there's somebody that's not with us anymore on something that could have been extremely preventable. So please be safe out there. Enjoy yourself. Don't get too wasted. And let's see what 2026 brings us. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.